The person you love is begging you with folded hands to talk just once. Because something huge just happened. My beloved child. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason your eyes stopped here at this exact moment, because someone who has been carrying your name deep inside their heart can no longer stay silent. They have replayed countless conversations in their mind, wondering how everything became so distant, how simple moments turned into heavy silence, and why every day without hearing your voice feels longer than the last. What happened recently changed everything they believed, and now every second feels too precious to waste. Pride has disappeared, fear has lost its grip, and all that remains is one desperate hope, that you will give them just one chance to speak. They are not searching for perfect words anymore, they are searching for one honest moment that could change both of your lives forever. But what they discovered before deciding to reach out is something they never expected, and that unexpected truth is only the beginning. Meanwhile, while you were living your ordinary day, another story was unfolding quietly behind the scenes. The person you love stood at a crossroads where every memory of you returned at once, making them realize that no distraction, no distance, and no passing day could replace what your presence means to them. They looked back at every misunderstanding and suddenly saw details they had ignored before, details that completely transformed the way they understood your silence. Instead of blaming the past, they began blaming themselves for the moments they let slip away. Their heart became heavier with every realization until they reached a point where they could no longer hide behind hesitation. That is why they are now standing emotionally with folded hands, wishing for only one conversation, because they believe a single exchange could undo months of confusion. Yet the reason behind this desperate request is far greater than regret, and once you hear what happened, nothing will feel the same again. And now the moment grows even more mysterious because there is one final piece they have not revealed to anyone. They have been protecting this truth, unsure whether bringing it into the light would bring healing or change everything forever. Every heartbeat reminds them that waiting any longer could become the biggest mistake of their life, yet rushing forward without telling you the whole story feels impossible. They know that once they finally speak, questions you have carried for so long will suddenly begin finding their answers, and emotions you believed were gone will return with unexpected strength. The silence between you is no longer empty, it is hiding something that has been building toward this very moment. What happened has already changed their future, but whether it changes yours depends on the words they are preparing to say next, and that truth is about to unfold. A quiet truth is about to rise from the silence, and the person you love has carried it alone for far longer than they ever intended. Every morning they promised themselves they would finally reach out, yet every evening ended with the same fear that they had already lost the chance forever. Then something happened that shook every excuse they had been hiding behind. It was not a dramatic event that everyone could see, but a deeply personal realization that made them understand how fragile time truly is. They suddenly saw that waiting for the perfect moment had only created more distance, while the words they wanted to say had remained trapped inside their heart. That is why they are no longer searching for the perfect conversation. They only hope for one genuine moment where nothing is hidden and nothing is left unsaid. But before they can tell you everything, there is one memory they have never admitted to anyone, and it changes the meaning of everything that came before. For longer than you could imagine, they have been quietly holding on to the smallest reminders of you. A familiar place, an old conversation, a simple laugh they once heard, or a sentence you probably forgot saying has continued to echo inside their heart. They kept convincing themselves that moving forward would become easier, yet every attempt somehow led them back to the same thought, you. What surprised them most was not how much they missed you, but how clearly they finally understood your value after everything became quiet. They realized that some people enter our lives for a reason that cannot be explained by logic alone. Instead of seeing distance as the end, they began seeing it as the lesson that revealed what truly mattered. And the discovery they made after accepting that truth has given them a courage they never believed they possessed. Now the story reaches a place where even they cannot predict what happens next. The words they are preparing to speak have the power to lift a weight they have carried for so long, yet they also know those same words could completely change the path ahead. They are no longer asking for perfection, promises, or impossible answers. They simply want one opportunity to let their heart speak without fear, because they believe there is something you deserve to know before another day slips away. What they are about to reveal is connected to a decision they made in complete silence, a decision that has already begun shaping the future in ways neither of you could have imagined. And when that hidden decision finally comes into the light, the reason they begged for just one conversation will become impossible to ignore. Part of them hoped that life would somehow bring you back together without either of you saying a single word, but reality slowly taught them that silence never heals what honesty can. They reached a point where every unanswered question became heavier than their fear of being misunderstood. They began revisiting moments that once seemed ordinary and suddenly realized those were the moments that meant the most. A smile they never thanked you for, a conversation they ended too quickly, and a goodbye they assumed would always have another tomorrow now carry a completely different meaning. The more they reflected, the clearer one truth became: they would rather risk hearing an uncertain answer than spend the rest of their life wondering what might have happened if they had simply spoken from the heart. Yet one unexpected discovery has made this decision far more urgent than they ever imagined. While everyone around them believed they were moving on, a completely different story was unfolding inside. They quietly started noticing signs that reminded them of you in the most unexpected places, not because they were searching for them, but because your presence had never truly left their heart. Every reminder felt like a gentle whisper urging them not to give up before telling you everything. Slowly, they understood that some connections cannot be measured by time or distance because they continue growing even through silence. That realization gave them the strength to stop pretending everything was fine. Now they no longer want to hide behind pride or unanswered questions. They are ready to place every feeling on the table, including one secret they have protected for far too long. But before that secret is revealed, there is one moment from the past they need you to see through their eyes. And as they prepare to finally open their heart, they remember the exact instant everything changed. It was a simple moment that most people would have forgotten, yet for them it became the turning point that reshaped every dream they carried afterward. Only now do they understand why that memory refused to disappear. It has been quietly leading them toward this very conversation, waiting for the day when both of you would finally be ready to hear the truth without fear. They know that once those hidden words leave their heart, nothing between you will remain exactly as it was before. The silence will finally reveal what it has been protecting all along, and the first sentence they are about to speak may be the one thing neither of you ever expected to hear. The closer this moment comes, the more impossible it becomes for them to keep pretending everything is normal. They have carried this conversation in their heart through restless nights and quiet mornings, imagining every possible outcome but always returning to the same conclusion: you deserve to know the truth. They are no longer afraid of appearing vulnerable because they have discovered that hiding genuine feelings only creates deeper regret. Every emotion they buried has now become impossible to ignore, and every heartbeat reminds them that delaying this conversation any longer could allow another precious opportunity to slip away. They are not reaching toward you because of loneliness. They are reaching toward you because they finally understand that some people become part of your story in a way that can never truly be replaced. But the reason behind this realization began with a single unexpected moment that changed their entire perspective. Something happened that forced them to look at life differently than ever before. In one quiet instant, they understood how quickly ordinary days become unforgettable memories and how easily important words remain unspoken until they feel almost impossible to say. That realization brought your name back into every thought they had about tomorrow. They remembered the dreams they never shared, the promises they silently wished they had made, and the future they secretly imagined whenever your face crossed their mind. Suddenly, every excuse they once believed sounded empty. Instead of asking themselves whether they should contact you, they began asking why they had waited so long. The answer they found was painful, but it also gave them a courage they had never possessed before. Even so, there is one truth they have still kept hidden because they fear it could change the way you see everything. Now they stand at the edge of a decision that feels bigger than anything they have ever faced. They know that once the first honest words are spoken, there will be no returning to silence. Every hidden emotion, every forgotten memory, and every unanswered question will finally come into the light together. They are ready to tell you something they have repeated only in their own heart, something that has quietly grown stronger with every passing day. But before those words are finally spoken, they need you to understand one final piece of the story, a moment so unexpected that it explains why they came to you with folded hands instead of pride. And when that moment is revealed, the true reason they have been searching for you will become clearer than you ever imagined. There was one evening they will never forget, not because the world around them changed, but because something inside them finally did. They sat quietly with thoughts they had been avoiding for far too long, and for the first time they stopped searching for someone to blame. Instead, they looked honestly at every missed opportunity, every unfinished conversation, and every feeling they had hidden behind silence. In that stillness, one name kept returning no matter how hard they tried to focus on anything else: yours. It became impossible to ignore that the person they wanted to speak to most had always been the same. That realization filled them with both hope and fear, because they understood that one sincere conversation could either heal what had been broken or leave a question that would follow them for the rest of their life. Yet there is another reason they have been so desperate to reach you, and it has remained hidden until now. Since that day, every ordinary moment has carried an extraordinary reminder. A familiar song, a passing smile, a quiet street, even the smallest details somehow lead them back to memories they thought had faded. Instead of pushing those memories away, they finally allowed themselves to feel everything they had been suppressing. They realized that what they had been calling coincidence was actually a constant reminder of what mattered most to their heart. The walls they built to protect themselves slowly disappeared, replaced by a deep desire to be completely honest with you. They no longer wish to impress you or convince you of anything. All they want is the chance to speak openly, without fear, because they believe the truth has waited long enough. But before they reveal the words they have rehearsed countless times, there is one promise they quietly made that changes the meaning of everything. Now the story reaches a turning point where every unanswered question begins moving toward an answer. The person you love has decided that they will no longer allow silence to write the ending of this chapter. They have chosen honesty over uncertainty and hope over regret, even though they know the next few moments may shape the future forever. Their heart is racing because they are about to reveal something they have never spoken aloud, something they have protected through every season of waiting. They believe that once you hear it, many confusing moments from the past will suddenly make perfect sense. But the very first words they are preparing to say are not what anyone would expect, and those words have the power to change everything that comes next. At last, the silence begins to break, and the person you love can no longer carry the weight of unspoken feelings alone. They have imagined this conversation so many times that every possible beginning felt incomplete, until they realized the only words that truly mattered were the honest ones. They are not coming to explain every mistake or rewrite the past. They are coming because their heart refused to let your story end with unanswered questions. Every day they delayed this moment, the desire to reach you only grew stronger, and now they feel as though life itself has been gently leading them toward this single opportunity. What they are about to reveal is not something they discovered about you, it is something they finally discovered about themselves, and that realization has changed everything. As the truth settles deeper into their heart, they begin to understand that love is not measured by how loudly it is spoken but by how faithfully it survives the quiet moments. They have watched time pass, believing distance would erase their feelings, yet every passing day only made one thing clearer. No matter how many new paths appeared before them, every road somehow led back to the memory of you. They finally accepted that some connections are not meant to disappear simply because life becomes complicated. Instead, they grow stronger through patience, reflection, and the courage to face what has been left unsaid. That is why they stand before you emotionally with folded hands, not asking for perfection, not asking you to forget the past, but hoping you will allow one sincere conversation before another precious moment slips away. Still, there is one hidden piece of their journey they have never shared with anyone, and it explains why this meeting feels so important. Now the story reaches a place where every heartbeat seems to count. The words resting on their lips have been waiting for this exact moment, and once they are spoken, the silence that separated both of you will never feel the same again. They believe that some moments arrive only once, carrying answers that cannot be delayed forever. This is one of those moments. They are ready to reveal the promise they quietly made when no one else was watching, a promise that has guided every decision since then. But before that promise is fully revealed, one final memory rises from the past, a memory so unexpected and so deeply connected to both of your lives that it will completely transform the meaning of everything you have heard so far. The memory they have guarded for so long was never ordinary. It was the kind of moment that seemed small when it happened but grew more meaningful with every passing day. They remember the way your presence brought a quiet sense of peace that they could never explain to anyone else. Long after that day ended, they realized they had been carrying that feeling everywhere they went. Every challenge, every success, and every lonely evening somehow led them back to that single memory. It became the silent reminder that some people leave a mark on your heart without even realizing it. That is why they have come this far with folded hands, not because they have run out of options, but because they have finally understood that no future feels complete while this chapter remains unfinished. And what they uncovered while revisiting that memory has made their next words impossible to keep hidden. The more they searched within themselves, the more they discovered that the greatest distance between two people is not measured in miles but in the words left unsaid. They began writing thoughts they never intended anyone to read, hoping those pages would lighten the weight on their heart. Yet every sentence somehow pointed back to the same truth. They never stopped hoping that one day you would understand what they struggled to express. They realized they were not waiting for the perfect circumstances, they were waiting for the courage to be completely honest. That courage has finally arrived. It has given them the strength to let go of fear, pride, and uncertainty. Now there is only one wish remaining, that when they finally speak, you will hear not only their words but also the sincerity that has been growing inside them through every silent season. But before that conversation truly begins, there is one final piece of the story that changes everything you thought you knew. Now the air feels different, as though everything has been quietly leading to this exact moment. The person you love is standing on the edge of revealing the truth they have carried through countless sleepless nights. They know those words may answer questions you never asked aloud, explain feelings that never made sense, and connect moments that once seemed completely unrelated. They are no longer asking life for another sign because they believe this is the sign they have been waiting for all along. Their heart is finally ready to reveal the promise, the hidden reason behind their silence, and the unexpected decision they made because of you. But the very first sentence they are about to speak is so deeply personal that once you hear it, the story will take a turn neither of you could have imagined. The moment they have been preparing for has finally arrived, and every hesitation that once held them back has quietly faded away. They take a deep breath, not because they have found all the perfect words, but because they have decided that honesty matters more than perfection. For so long they believed they had more time, more chances, and more opportunities to explain what was hidden inside their heart. Now they understand that the greatest gift they can offer is the truth without disguise. That truth is simple, yet powerful enough to change everything between you. They want you to know that not a single day passed without wondering how different life might have been if they had chosen courage instead of silence. That thought has stayed with them through every sunrise and every quiet night, growing stronger until it became impossible to ignore. And now, standing before this long-awaited conversation, they know there is no turning back. What they have carried all this time is not regret alone, it is gratitude mixed with hope. Gratitude because meeting you changed the way they see love, trust, and the future, even if they never admitted it aloud. Hope because they still believe that some stories are